It's Sunday night, so you know what that means. Another hot and spicy episode of the Slashily Ever After podcast. Featuring me, the first himbo of horror, Runningman, and...
Jeez, Brittany.
Jeez, a Brittanyza. How was your week?
Good.
Good, yeah? Yeah,
it's
good.
fine.
I was there the whole time.
I know.
But they don't know that.
That's true.
They
do know you know that, though.
They know that I would know that, but do they know that I would know that you know that they know that? Right? Those are, what's up? Yeah, so we're joined today by our first ever guest on the Slashily Ever After podcast. Everybody meet Dahlia, or as I affectionately refer to her as the Grey Dahlia Murder. She's our cat, and we love her to death. And she could not bear to be apart from us for the 45 minutes we're recording the podcast, so we brought her with us this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was a good week. It was a good week in horror. It was a good week in gaming. A lot of stuff happening. Follow all my socials to find out more about horror games and specifically horror ASIM games. But yeah, so let's just get right into it. We watched a bunch of movies and we want to talk about them. Some will probably draw a little bit more attention than others because we saw some bangers and we saw some movies. So first things first, though, we're going to pop in with the Australian film Birdeater.
Yeah, this movie sounded so cool. It came out, I think, so it was released to America, the United States, on January 10th, but it had been out like a whole year before then. Australian film. All these different film festivals. I was just assuming it was probably really good because it's in a bunch of festivals. It was fine. It was about a engaged couple. Apparently, like the man and the wife, or the future spouses,
yes,
have a hard time being apart from each other.
Yeah,
not unlike us.
Yeah. I would put us, classify us as ethically codependent, healthy codependency. We're just around each other. We just like each other. These people were like, it was an unhealthy, codependent situation.
So he has his bachelor party. They kept calling it like a
buck party.
Buck party.
That's an Australian thing.
There's a lot of issues with us understanding, like, what is this? Anyways, So she goes along with them. She goes on the bachelor party. And that's what the movie's about. Yeah,
so she said that she thought it would be good. I really thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely one of those movies where you're kind of watching it the whole time. And this is my take. I'll let her give her take. But my take was I watched it the whole time, kind of waiting for it to become a horror movie, waiting to figure out like what. And then when the ending happens, everything from the movie comes back and like smashes me over the head. I'm like, oh, crazy. Like, but it's not a gotcha crazy. It's more like, oh, that's okay. So, and I just, something about it, it's very weird, very non-traditional. I can't think of anything quite like it, like any comparisons. And so for that reason, to me, it was awesome. Like I loved it. I read up on it. I was thinking about it constantly. I'm actually a little surprised because we've watched a bunch this week. It somehow managed to like get itself out of my head. And now that we're talking about it, I'm right back to like, yeah, this was great. So I thought it was a great film. Australia doesn't tend to miss in my experience. I think I can't really remember an Australian horror movie that I thought was a miss. And this one kind of carries on that legacy for me. I thought it was fantastic. I definitely would watch it again. I don't know when I'll find time to, because there's so much coming out and so much already out, but I would love to see it again. So maybe it'd be something that I would pop on. I don't think she'd want to watch it again. So maybe if there was like a situation where we were traveling or something, I just wanted to put something on, I'd watch it again for sure.
Watch it again.
Yeah.
I think because it being called Birdeater, I thought like something grotesque was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like there's like the bird eating spiders.
Yeah.
In Australia, you think of like insane animals.
Everything in Australia wants to kill you, right?
It was definitely just a psychological thriller. I thought in my head I was comparing it to I Saw the TV Glow. Just a lot of like, not the actual movie.
I think you mean like the pacing or like the way it tells the story.
It was pretty slow.
And I guess, that's a really good comparison because when you consider that the ending kind of makes you have to reframe the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's just it doesn't put it all out in your face what's happening, and it's just like you keep thinking like when is something horror gonna happen?
Yeah.
And you're just like waiting and you're on edge.
I'll tell you, this one will be a lot more fun, I think, to talk about with spoilers.
Yeah.
And again, we've discussed a little bit, and we might at some point start doing like spoiler related episodes as like a bonus content in some way. So what I would leave you at is if you're intrigued at all by our breakdown, watch it. hit the Discord, which is, I link it in the description. You can come in there and we can chat about it, because I would love to chat with more people about it. This is one of those ones that really flies under the radar. Like, it took us forever to be able to watch it. It was on Apple TV, and that was the only place it was available. And like the original release date was wrong. It was like a week later. It's like $6.99 to rent. So
yeah, it's on Prime, so very.
Oh, is it on Prime now?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's on Prime now.
Oh, cool.
I think it's on Apple TV and Prime.
Okay.
And last I checked.
Everything I said there was incorrect.
No, it was. It was only on Apple. So it was. So it said it was going to release on January 10th, but we couldn't find it anywhere. And then apparently it was a limited release only in like California. And
Boo.
then
No, I'm just kidding. I love you, California.
I don't know if it actually was anywhere else, but it's the only place that was close that I could find. And then we could only find it on Apple TV, but we could only find it on the TV. Yeah. So when we tried to log in on the computer to see it, we couldn't find it. So I don't know. It was very hard to find.
Yeah, they were really trying to keep us from watching it. But we got it though, and now we're doing an episode.
So just look on Prime.
Yeah. So again, I liked it, loved it. She liked it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's good. It's fine.
It's good.
So if you're like me and you tend to over enjoy things, you'll like it. If you're like her and you enjoy things, you'll like it. If you're like a person that looks for reasons not to like it, maybe you don't like it. I don't really know what I'm doing right now, but we need to move on. So I'm going to come to the next. The next movie we watched was, hey, we did Wolfman. Oh.
Well. So Wolfman was one of the first like big releases of the year. It was not limited release. It was full theatrical release on January 17th. I didn't say anything about the rating for the movie. It's because it doesn't have one.
Which one? The
Birdeater.
Yeah, it's on rated,
yeah, so it just didn't have, because I guess like whatever. Yeah. So Wolfman is rated R, which I guess is maybe for the violence.
I feel like it was definitely a soft R.
Yeah, like it's definitely not. Not in a bad way.
No. We'll talk.
Oh.
But
hour 43 minutes long, not very long at all.
No,
very reasonable.
No, and the pacing's great, and it was a fun ride. So like, it didn't even feel like an hour 43.
So
like,
I don't know, how much do you want to like do a synopsis without giving too much?
I can do it. All right. So basically, the synopsis is a dude with an estranged relationship with his father. He ends up marrying, and he's got a child, and then his father passes away, and so they have to return back home to where he grew up to get his dad's things from their old cabin. His dad lived off the grid,
the woods of Oregon,
rustic mountain man in Oregon. But when he gets there, he decides, hey, we're having a little bit of strain in the relationship. He's a stay-at-home dad in between jobs. She's working a high-profile journalistic job. They're having some strain. Hey, you know what could really inject some life into our relationship? A trip to the cabin to check it out where I grew up. And they get more than they bargained for, let me tell you.
That's perfect.
So thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, I should do this for a living, talk about stuff. That'd be cool. So I'll tell you this. I'll give you a couple of quick hitters without spoilers. They waste no time getting from... Yeah, there's a dog barking. We don't own a dog. Hello?
Leatherface?
Come here. Leatherface?
The meowing's not
Are you
working.
learning a new language? That's crazy. Whoa. Dude, new year, new him. Yeah, no. So basically, it wastes no time. It goes from like, they break down what's going on. What I just told you gets broken down like the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, and boom, it's just action. It's so cool. I really, really liked this one. And I think that there's two reasons for that. One is that there's really kind of a dearth of good werewolf media the more I think about it. And you guys feel free to rail me in the comments if I'm missing something, but I'm thinking like American Werewolf in London, and like Teen Wolf, and what, Twilight? Like, and there it is. Like, where's the werewolf content? And everybody knows.
Yeah, there's not a ton.
The people that are plugged into the horror scene know that Eggers, the director of Nosferatu, is going to do a werewolf movie this year for Christmas. So that we'll be waiting for that. But like for me, it was like I didn't realize I needed a good werewolf movie, and this one I thought it was a good werewolf movie.
It's funny. Yeah. So during the previews, because it's been like advertised for a few months
forever.
Now.
Like I was like,
this movie looks stupid. Yeah. I instantly didn't care for the main character's wife. I don't know why. I think she looks like a child. I thought it was his child. And until they did a longer trailer where she's like, my husband, and blah, blah. I was like, your husband? What? No, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, so I'll tell you this. I've spoken to a couple of friends who watched it because I kind of hyped it up. I was like, you got to check it out. It's way better than I thought. it didn't hit for them the way that it hit for me. And so one of the piece of feedback I got from my friend Justin is that he thought I needed more time. He thought I needed more time, like maybe another 30 minutes to tell stories and to kind of, because it just kind of like, it threw you in and it was action. And there was like more, there's a very iconic scene that I won't spoil here, but, and I'll tell you more about which one I was talking about, but the audio in the film is fantastic. And they play a lot of tricks with the audio and the visuals as this whole concept of, werewolf transitions happen. And it's so cool. I love that it was a borderline an action movie too. Like, again, like I said, they rip you right into it and it's like nonstop action. It didn't drag. It didn't waste a whole ton of time on story, which again, some people maybe didn't like that they didn't spend more time on story. But I figured that this movie kind of knew what it was. It was a Wolfman action flick. The characters, to me, she didn't resonate with the main character, the main character's wife very much.
I didn't like anybody in this movie.
Okay, yeah.
I liked what was his name? Derek? I like Derek.
Derek was the childhood friend. Yeah. So and yeah, she didn't resonate with the characters. I resonated with them a little bit more. And again, the hardest thing for me is not spoiling, because for me, my favorite part of the movie would be a spoiler. And so
can you tiptoe around it so I know what you're talking about?
Just kind of like the inevitability of things.
Oh yeah,
and so that to me was
good.
Right, and that to me was like such a driving force behind my enjoyment of the film. And I thought the audio was great. I thought that it was shot well. People complained about the werewolf. Like, visually.
So I saw that too. People were complaining about it, but they didn't use any special effects. It was all makeup.
Yeah, it was all practical effects, right?
Yeah.
So for that, I thought that was kind of sick.
They used
I thought it was kind of sick.
Makeup SFX.
Yeah,
not
and
digital SFX.
And so for me, it was really fun. It was like, I literally loved it. Like, I want to watch it again. I'd see it again in the theaters and enjoy it again in the theaters. I'll definitely be buying it when it comes out and rewatching. This to me, again, I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10 on Letterboxd. Like, it'll probably be somewhere in like the 7.5 range. Sorry, Letterboxd is out of 5, right?
Yeah.
So probably like somewhere in the 3.5, 4.5, somewhere 4 area. Not like, it's not an amazing movie, but like, tell me a better werewolf movie and I'll go watch it tonight. So if you're in the comments or you're on the Discord, give me another werewolf movie to watch, because this one, I loved it and I wanted more. And I hope that it gets a sequel. There, I said it. I hope it gets a sequel, or at least conceptually, right?
In the same world?
Yeah, in the same universe. Maybe not these characters.
Maybe Derek has a child.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps, maybe. Yeah, so werewolf. W
Wolfman.
movie. Wolfman, werewolf. I said werewolf.
Keep the bad things outside.
Presents.
Oh, you know what's so funny? I forgot to do that one. Whoops.
Forgot to do what? You forgot to do a breakdown?
I didn't put it in the book.
Okay. Well, luckily it was, in my opinion, it's going to be the best film we saw this week. It was a fantastic movie. Steven Soderbergh, right? Steven Soderbergh? Yeah. Steven Soderbergh. It's a neon film. Neon is really famous for experimental stuff, like pushing envelopes, doing things that are unorthodox and unnatural, and this one they hit the ball all the way out of the park with. So this is one of those ones where, and you hear this all the time, but you don't want anything spoiled at all. And so we're really not going to talk much about what happens in this film, because just that's what this film is. It's kind of what happens.
It really doesn't tell you. Like, the synopsis is, I don't think we really saw any previews for it. So it was a limited release film. I think it came out January 24th, something like that. And so literally the synopsis is, a family becomes convinced they're not alone after moving into their new home in the suburbs. That's all it is.
That's all you know.
That's all you know.
And all you need to know. I don't think that this is a spoiler really to tell you that the film is filmed from the perspective of a presence. And from there, it's a masterpiece. But
whatever the presence is.
It's a masterpiece.
Could be a dog.
And I think you'll be surprised. This was something I forgot. I left this out. Wolfman had far more, it was more intense than I expected. It was more suspenseful. Like, it was actually a scary movie. Like, I was really I was invested and like on the edge of my seat in a lot of moments. And Presence is different, but like also I didn't expect really to be as invested as I was, and they managed to just absolutely have me. They were leading me around by my nose. It was like, I cannot wait to see what happens next. I was completely confused about what was happening when things were revealed to me. It was like it dawning on me, like, Oh, it was so good. The individual performances in the film.
Everybody did great in this movie, except for
Incredible.
that one lady. I think she was fine.
Which lady?
The one that came on her lunch break.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, she was such a filler character. Her and her
Her
husband. I felt like were kind of.
But everybody else in here was
I don't
great.
think that they mattered.
Yeah.
To me, it didn't matter. They were serving a purpose. They served it fine. No one will remember their names or their faces.
The best part of us watching this movie, though, is we actually got to watch it with our future selves. So
Yeah, it was so funny. We went to a matinee showing on a Wednesday. She doesn't work Thursdays.
We went on a matinee Thursday.
Matinee on Thursday. Sorry, she doesn't work on Thursdays. And there was this older couple that were the only other people in the theater, and they were in the same row as us, and they had the same. They were like us in 30 years core. It was so funny.
They were like us in like 40 years.
Okay, well, you know what?
They were all grayed out.
I'm old. No, but it was very funny. It was very cute.
It was awesome.
And I really wanted to talk to them. Like, what you guys think?
Yeah, right.
You guys want to hang out? You want to be friends?
Yeah.
But it was just phenomenal. Lucy Liu slays as the
Mom. Mom.
dysfunctional mother.
Oh.
Her husband, who I'm forgetting his name,
Chris Sullivan.
Chris Sullivan. You'll recognize him from This Is Us.
His character's name is Chris.
He was also Taserface in Guardians of the Galaxy. Actually, I realized that later after the fact.
I don't remember that character.
Okay, I'm sure people will though. He's a.
It sounds familiar.
He's an amazing character.
I hear it. I can see it.
Yep. People are going to be like, "Oh, that guy." When I said that, I bet you money. Tell me in the comments. Come on, I'm desperate for engagement. But no, he played Chris Sullivan. Was my star of the show, and the two kids whose names we couldn't possibly know because the son. This was his literal acting debut. He had never been in something before, and then the sister had only been in like one or two other projects before. So Steven Soderbergh went out here, picked some people that were picked a couple of bigger names to play the parents, picked a couple of nobodies. That all and every individual.
I guess
performance.
all the kids. Because there's another kid too.
Yeah, the friend was also an unknown, and it's like
an unknown.
But I'm just saying, like they're not unknown now because people are gonna be like, that's the kid from Presence. That'll be in 10 years. These careers that I'm sure are gonna be fantastic. People will be like, that was the kid from Presence. Yeah, because they were all so good. The film is so good. And I know you're gonna say, Runningman, you're always overrating things. You just got done telling us how great Wolfman is, but please listen to me when I tell you this is going to be in the conversation with the greatest ghost movies ever made. The greatest. I mean, this style of film, it will be in the conversation. It's that good. It's that good. Just make sure you see it.
I'll say the only thing that I'm on the fence of, and like when I think about it, I'm like, I do like that, and then I think about it, I'm like, I don't like that. Is that there's very hard cuts between each scene.
Yeah,
it's like someone was like using like a camcorder. And they're like recording, and then they just turn off.
I don't want to spoil, but I think that there was a reason for that, and I think
we can talk about it.
I would love to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
And then again, we'll talk to all of you about it in the Discord and on the comments in the video. Right, the spoilers in those. Those are spoiler free or spoiler appropriate zones because I love talking this stuff, but I do think that there was an intention behind the way we get like a scene and a moment, and then we get a cut and another one. And I think that they did that with a purpose.
I know they did it. I don't know how I feel about it.
I'll explain why I think that it needed to be that way. Anyways, Presence, W film. I'm 4.5, maybe 5 stars on Letterboxd. I haven't done my review yet, but it's that good. It's that good. It's that good. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Speaking of it's that good, watch it.
I just realized I love that we watched Royal Rumble right after watching this.
That's true.
The next day.
If my wrestling fans, my marks out there who are wrestling fans, I am a lifelong, since high school, fanatical wrestling fan. Surprise, surprise. And
you can't see what's his face.
Who's the the Prophet?
Cut off. Yeah.
The Prophet, the Lionheart, Chris Jericho. So we have Dark Match, a Shudder original.
Yep.
Do you have a
So it came
synopsis?
out January 31st, and it is not rated, and it is also an hour and 34 minutes long. So it's a small time wrestling company. The manager accepts an offer to do a dark match, which is as a new wrestling fan is a
non-televised wrestling event.
So they travel to this place to go do a dark match.
Yep.
And they get paid to do
and
it.
Things happen. Tons of them. Okay, so she mentioned it before, but this weekend was the Royal Rumble this Saturday.
That was so good.
And we had so much fun.
Yeah,
we watched together. My son was here, and we love
sorry.
wrestling, and we just got all into it. Took up our whole day. she's a brand new wrestling fan, just got started because of me, which like she's for a little over a year now. She's paid attention to the fact that it exists. We had a ball. Royal Rumble was fantastic. No spoilers there either, but if you haven't watched it, highly recommend you watch that because it was 10 out of 10. But Dark Match, we watched the eve of Royal Rumble. We didn't do this on purpose, but it would have made sense. So I guess
that's when it came out, though. So that's why.
I guess that's why. That's why
Maybe
it happened.
they did that on purpose.
Nothing happens by accident. So maybe. So Dark Match was exactly what it was supposed to be to a certain extent. It was a campy, cheesy, wrestling themed film. Chris Jericho is stars in it as the Prophet, who is he's a Hall of Fame professional wrestler, one of the greatest of all time. In my opinion, the greatest of all time, though he just keeps doing stuff now that kind of makes it so it makes it harder for that. He's like, it might be time for him to move on. But anyways, and I don't know that his future is in acting, but this film was it was fun. It was fun. We enjoyed it. You'd have to pay me to watch it again. Yeah. It wasn't that kind of movie for me. And the thing that sucks is that as a diehard wrestling fan, for me to say I don't want to watch it again, like that's not a compliment, right? I think what they did and what bothered me, I'm a what they call a smart mark, and so I've been reading internet about the WWE and the rest of wrestling since I was in high school. So when the internet was first becoming a thing. And so we all know the insider terms like dark match and work and shoot, face and heel, you know, it's this movie tried to be.
Oh, what was the thing that the guy said where you're like the story that you're like living
Oh, breaking kayfabe. Yeah.
That's it.
They talked about kayfabe. And here's the thing. That's all fine if you want to do in talk, but they didn't do it well. And and again, please, if I'm wrong, if you're a diehard wrestling fan listening right now, let me know in the comments. I felt like they used that stuff. They used insider terms and they tried to be like an insider movie, but they still weren't authentic. It was like it was an anchor on the whole thing because you're using stuff that a casual fan would never know about, but then you're not pulling off an authentic wrestling story.
See, what it was to me is it seemed like someone like me who just learned the words and then they were saying them to like, I know what this means.
Yeah, and they had Chris Jericho on board. So like you could have done a movie that was true to insiders. I don't know. I think it might have been just kind of a cash grab. I'm not going to lie. Because like, again, they really didn't. Maybe they just got Chris Jericho for his scenes and he didn't do any, like, I don't know. I should probably look more into it about how much he really contributed behind the scenes. But I was disappointed in it. And it was one of those things, like, it's hard for me to be disappointed in a movie. I wanted to love it bad and I couldn't love it. It was fun though. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah, it was fun.
The ending, imagine the ending of The Substance, make it worse and then make it not be indefensible. That was the ending of the film. So
yeah,
it's so bad.
I have a hard time. No, I think it would have been a better ending if literally nothing happened.
We just went to credits rather than having the ending, right?
If it was like this big crescendo was about to happen, like, oh my god, the moment's happening, and then nothing happens, you'd be like, all that for nothing. I feel like that would have been so much better than the ending that they gave us. And
that's sad. So Dark Match is gonna get a star out of me, I think. I think it'll be a 1 star. And
the only redeeming thing about this movie is Enigma.
Enigma was great. And then the guy, I forget his name, but the dude that was Trevor in GTA 5 and the dude that was in The Walking Dead.
Stephen Ogg.
Yeah, Stephen Ogg. You'll recognize him.
I was thinking about it. He's like Negan's like number one guy.
Yeah, he was the right-handed Negan in The Walking Dead, and he's a phenomenal horror guy. And then again, like I think his iconic role, again, if you're into games and maybe I'm just speaking to my own demographic, but like my demographic, like the millennial bro that plays video games is gonna know him from GTA as Trevor. That was like an iconic role for him. But yeah, he was great. I thought that the individual performances weren't bad. Like the actors did what they could.
Everybody did what they could.
They did what they could with what they had. And again, to put another knock on, and if Chris Jericho ever listens to this podcast, I'll be devastated. But to put another knock on him, I think he might have had.
We loved you in Terrifier.
Yeah, we loved you in Terrifier. Do it again. And I loved you growing up, and I still loved you for the million. You know, your best friends with Kevin Owens was great, and Lionheart was great. You have so many good gimmicks, and Y2J was great. This one was not your best work.
What were you going to say though before I interrupted you? I'm sorry.
Huh? I don't remember. I was going to say, I hope Chris Jericho doesn't get mad at me for saying that. I think he might have had like the weakest performance in the film. He's I don't know. I think he could have been better. even more, maybe not featured enough. It's just, I don't know, man. I wanted to love it so bad, now it's kind of let down. But it's a Shudder original. I paid $0 for it. And I laughed at it. And then it was a great appetizer for the Royal Rumble.
It was perfect timing for that.
Yeah. So, that's our thoughts on the Dirt match. And finally,
have it on in the background.
Yeah. Or watch it if you're a wrestling fan, and then tell me if you agree that they should be embarrassed. All right. And finally, to wrap up the week, from the psychotic minds that brought you Barbarian, we have Companion.
I don't know how much we can talk about this movie without giving too many spoilers. So I can say that we've been kind of wanting to see this. We've been kind of wanting to see this for a couple months. Sorry, I just read the synopsis. It doesn't give away. So it says, a billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate. So,
wow. Okay. That synopsis is perfect.
Yeah.
To set you up for this film.
Yeah. So the very first trailer for this movie, it definitely makes it look like a romance, because it said something about the Notebook.
Yeah, it's because it's got people that worked on the Notebook. It's from the producers of the Notebook, I think. So.
And it's like there's a fancy meal getting put onto the table. There's a guy like smiling at his date across the table, and then you go and look at the date, and she's handcuffed to the chair, and you're like, what the? So that's like literally the first trailer. That's about it. And up until a week before the movie came out, there's another trailer that was released, and luckily, Doug has to pee all the time. Yeah, I drink because he drinks a lot.
Sponsored by Rogue Energy, Rogue Hydration, dude. Code Running Rogue at checkout, please.
So he missed the new trailer for this, but the new trailer gives away so much in the movie.
Yeah.
The first sentence in the trailer is a dead giveaway for the movie. However, it's also within the first 5 minutes of the film, so I don't feel like that spoils too much.
Yeah.
Where it says, the 2 most important times of my life, or when I met this guy.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's fine. But there are so many things that happen in the second trailer that made me hate this movie. Yeah, so it sucks. I'm so upset. She saw the trailer. I went to go for my ritualistic pee before I drank 32 ounces of Pepsi Zero. And she was just like ranting about it. And she's like, I'm not going to tell you until after. So we watched the film together. And I'll give you a little bit more context. I've recently been listening to a lot more horror podcasts because I'm getting into this whole podcasting about horror movies thing, and I want to check out network, And so I was listening to the it's like the Dark Film Society, I think is what it's called, and they were speaking. No, sorry, it was the Bloody Disgusting podcast I was listening to, and they interviewed one of the people that worked on the film, and they were like, "Hey, there's been some pushback on your most recent trailer because it reveals the twist," and he was like, it doesn't reveal the twist. I'm telling these people to calm down. It's only the twist for the first act. You have so much more movie. Why would you want to ruin the first act? The first act was rad, and I loved it, and I had no spoilers, and I loved the first act. And I get it. I'm going to say I get it. I am a himbo. I am not bright. If you guys remember when we talked about Strange Darling, it took me way too long to understand that twist. Presents, it took me a week to figure out the twist. Like, after it, I was like, oh yeah. He talked to me about it this morning. He's like, do you know? And I was like, yes. And that's me. I figured out the twist in Companion. It's not a tough twist. It's fine. It's fine. And I'm sure that's what they were thinking. They're like, well, people are going to figure it out anyways. Let's spoil it, get them a little more intrigue. But there was more, that was little things that were spoiled. There's a scene where she is running, and it's a very obvious something happened. And in the trailer, like, there's no editing. It's literally the scene. Yeah. So it's very obvious something happened. There's a scene with a car that is also very obvious what is happening. There's too much. It didn't need it. It didn't need it. You got Sophie Thatcher. You got Jack Quaid. You got the makers of Barbarian, which was like a hit the year it came out. You got all these reasons. People are gonna watch your movie, dudes. Mm-hmm. They're gonna watch it. Don't ruin. Again, I cannot imagine how differently I'd feel about the movie if I had the first act spoiled. And you never actually got to see the second trailer. We should have watched it. I didn't. We should watch it. We'll watch it after, and we'll talk about it next week if we get time. But I'm very, very sad that I saw the trailer, because I think I would have really liked this movie, but I know everything that happened going into it, and it was just not. It wasn't. Spoilers, man. This genre is really reliant on twists and turns and excitement and shocks.
and having.
And I wasn't looking for the trailer. It was in front of another movie.
They shoved it in your face while we were seeing
twice.
We were seeing.
It was
Wolfman,
in front of Wolfman and Presence.
Yeah.
Because I was like, babe, go to the bathroom.
Yeah, go now.
It came on.
So you don't ruin the film. Yeah. So it sucks that there's it's like a black eye on it. Otherwise, again, I'm not gonna downgrade it. I didn't get it spoiled. So I'm not gonna minus points. And this one to me was an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. So if you can,
4.5 out of 5 movie.
I will implore you to please try to not see the second trailer. I know we've talked about this before, like going blind, but like you will enjoy the movie so much more if you do not see the second trailer.
But outside of the fact that it got spoiled, it sucks that it really puts like a dark cloud over the film for you, because otherwise it's everything that I wanted it to be. It was funny.
A good movie.
It was exciting. It was twists and turns. It was thought provoking and interesting. The characters were acted phenomenally. I don't remember his name. The guy from Smile 2.
Oh yeah,
was in it again. And
I don't know his name, but
Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, and
Lucas Gage.
Lucas Gage is a rising star in horror. He absolutely smashes his role in this one. It was just
smashes.
Yeah, I loved it because of the Smile 2 thing. I loved it. I loved the movie. And again, it was everything that I wanted it to be and more. So to me, it's a phenomenal film. Definitely one that I would love to rewatch. I don't know. She might boycott it.
I will want to rewatch it. I'll want to rewatch it. I will.
Yeah.
90% of movies. I mean, you saw. I watched a documentary.
Tell them about the documentary. We don't waste your time.
I watched this documentary about the cult. Love Has Won, and then just the very next day, I was like, I want to watch it again.
And I was like, go do it. Go chase your dream.
Good.
So,
yeah.
Love Has Won. You can watch that on Max.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. Yeah, if you're into true crime is also horror. Yeah. I would highly recommend it. It's 3 episodes. I think they're maybe an hour and a half each. Very good.
Banger. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, overall, Companion was fantastic. We just wrapped up an incredible week in horror.
Yeah, so there are just a few movies we missed out in January that I think we can probably hit. They were all like limited release, straight to internet movies. I think maybe 4 or 5. Yep. And then February looks pretty light, actually. So it'll be. I say light. There's still like 10 movies that are coming out, but but we're just started February, so we got time. Mm-hmm. So I think what we'll try to do then is, I don't know if there's any big releases happening between now and then, but if Hard Eyes comes out on what, the 10th? Comes out on the 7th. Comes out next Friday. Okay, so we'll try and get Hard Eyes, and then maybe wrap up January. Yeah, maybe try and see if we can squeeze in the end of January. There might be some cold. Maybe some we just leave off. We're starting to get a little bit more selective about what we watch, because like some movies that are on the brink, like I was very gung-ho about like, watch it all. Yeah, we made this whole Google Doc of everything that came out in January, and then I was like, this kind of sounds like horror. Let me see what you think. And then now we're like, that's not horror. We got to cull some of these. So if we miss anything, another opportunity for you guys to tell us you missed blank. We'll make sure and we get it in the rotation ASAP. Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, I'm excited for Hard Eyes. Hard Eyes is getting. I follow Barbara Crampton. Hard Eyes and The Monkey are the 2 ones that come out in February. Yeah. The big ones. I follow Barbara Crampton on social media. You know her from Reanimator. She did some voice acting. She played one of the characters. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, which is one of my favorite games. She plays Virginia in that. She's fantastic. She gave us a very big thumbs up style review. So that gets me excited. I like things. So I'm pretty pumped about Hard Eyes. I'm excited about The Monkey too. I will say, we'll talk more about Osgood Perkins later, but I'm going to grade him harsher than most with his attitude. I want him to, you better blow my mind, man, the way you talk. So, but yeah. It'll better be Long Legs 2 worthy. Yeah, Long Legs. I mean, again, I went in with the same attitude about Long Legs. And I was like, okay, you got me on this. You got me on this. But we'll see how he does with The Monkey. But yeah, exciting times. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Slashily Ever After. You can find me at all the links below. I stream live on Twitch 5 to 7 days a week, depending. My YouTube channel is where you'll find the podcast and other horror odds and ends. You can follow us both on social media. Slashily Ever After, everywhere. You can buy Rogue Energy with my code Running Rogue, and you can also have to pee 4 times every time you watch a movie. But yeah, with that, stay clean, stay focused, stay off drugs, and they live Slashily Ever After. Her little face. She looked up. She's so cute. Bye. Bye.